What's happening, guys? Scott Bancroft here and welcome to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you about the one app you need for iPhone photography, and that's Adobe Lightroom for mobile. It is a desktop-based program for editing, but it is also available on mobile to take raw photos and edit in one space. For those of you that haven't heard of Adobe Lightroom and don't have it on your phone already, pause the video now, go search it in your app store, search Adobe Lightroom, download it. It is completely free, so it's not going to cost you anything to try. And when you're ready, resume the video and we're going to be going into how professional this app really is. So let's load up into the phone now and see exactly how this app works. And I've even got some real-time examples of how I use this shooting a sunset as well as a night photo of Brisbane City. So we've just loaded up now into Lightroom and you can access its camera function by pressing the camera icon in the bottom right corner. If I haven't used Lightroom in a while or I'm opening it up on a new device, I'll press the three vertical dots in the top right corner of the viewfinder to open up the settings panel, and then I'll press the gear icon and I'll turn all three settings on. This is going to give the iPhone the best possible chance to take the best quality photo. Now that our settings are all correct, let's shift our focus to the bottom left corner of the screen and toggle the professional mode. This is where we're going to be able to harness the full capability of the iPhone's camera. To go through some of these features, the shutter speed is how long the lens is open to receive light. The ISO is how sensitive your sensor is. The more sensitive it is, the more light it's going to pick up, but that does come with a disadvantage of you're going to get grainy photos. That's why when you take an iPhone photo on the default app at night, it's going to look pretty grainy because the iPhone has boosted that ISO all the way up to compensate to keep you at a lower shutter speed. The white balance is telling the camera what temperature you want the photo, and this is going to vary if it's daylight, cloudy conditions, if you're shooting inside under fluorescent lighting, and you can also select a custom white balance point, which is just a neutral color within the scene. And finally, you can adjust how much of the scene is in focus by pressing the button that looks like an open and closed square bracket with a plus sign in the middle. You can slide it from auto all the way from 0% to 100%, and whatever's green is going to be in focus. That's enough telling you about the settings and how they work. Let's actually get into taking a photo, and what you're seeing is a rather overexposed photo. The black and white lines you see across the sky is what I spoke about earlier, and that's highlight clipping. That's just telling me this area of your photo is overexposed and you're not going to recover any details from it. And that's on the auto function. So that just proves that sometimes the auto function doesn't always work. 90% of the time, yeah, it will work and it's pretty good. But in these situations, it's obviously trying to expose for the city and not the sky. So we're going to have to use the manual mode. So what I've done is I've moved the shutter speed to a figure that I roughly know should work, and then I'm going to adjust the ISO. I want to keep the ISO as low as possible to retain the clarity and not have so much noise in the photo. And then I'm going to readjust the shutter speed to expose correctly for the scene. It's easier to recover shadows than it is to recover highlights. That's why the photo will look a little underexposed. I'd rather the sky look nice and me bring the shadows out than have a beautiful city and then have a platinum looking sky, because that's the color you're going to get from trying to recover overexposed highlights. You'll also notice that my white balance is set to AWB, auto white balance. I'm letting the camera decide what it thinks is best. The best thing about shooting in RAW is you can always adjust it afterwards in post. If you shoot it in JPEG on a normal default iPhone app, you're going to lock all the settings in and you're not going to have the flexibility that you do when shooting in RAW. Now that all our settings are sorted, all we have to do is press the capture button and you can see that it looks pretty good from the get-go. A little bit of editing, boosting the shadows, adding a bit of magenta to really get that golden hour feel going. You're going to get a really nice looking photo straight out of the iPhone. Phones inherently don't shoot well during low light conditions, but you can give it the best possible chance by using a simple piece of equipment, and that's a tripod. So let's load up back into the phone and see how I shot this blue hour photo. I know that the iPhone's limitation is its sensor. Therefore, its ISO value needs to be as low as possible so it doesn't have so much grain in it. So what I've done is I've put the shutter speed to as long as possible. It's sitting on a tripod, so there's going to be no shake. So I've put the shutter speed to 1/4 of a second, And then I've adjusted the ISO accordingly to expose correctly, and you can see we didn't have to push it up so far. ISO 100 is still considered pretty low for an ISO setting. And to save me having to fix it in post, I've just selected a white balance that makes the scene look natural. Yeah, there's no cloud showing, but sometimes you do need to pick a white balance that's going to help you achieve the results you want. Now the settings are correct in the camera, all we have to do is press capture, and you can see that as a base image without any editing, it's actually looking pretty alright. And that's about it. I'm going to leave it there on this video. The next video is going to be the editing of these photos. I just wanted this video to show you the functions and how powerful the photography side of this app is. So for those of you that still haven't downloaded it, but you wanted to watch the video before you went and downloaded it, I do strongly recommend getting this app. It's completely free. All of these features I showed you today are in the free version. It's only when it comes to editing that you can pay a subscription for a couple more features, but for the average iPhone user, it's not necessary. And there you have it. It's as simple as downloading a free app and testing out its features. The weekend's coming up in a couple of days. Go out, take some photos, test it, tag me on Instagram at @scottbancroft_ so I can see your photos and share them. If you found this video interesting, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, hit the bell if you want to be notified, but if you don't want the emails, follow me on Instagram. There's going to be a story every time there's a new video, and I'm definitely going to see you in the next video when we edit these two photos.